Hi, I'm Nancy Shanto, and I'm here to read you a section of the book Access to Power, a radical approach for changing your life. And this is a section called Internal Rescue. It's in the Empowered Transactions chapter, and it's something I wrote, a sidebar that I wrote for the book. And I wrote this sidebar to help when we're trying to unpack the rescue triangle, something that happens a lot around the holidays. Where we do more than our share or more than we want to do. Sometimes what happens when we're asking for 100%, trying to figure that out, is that we try and get our needs met by negotiating with somebody else outside of ourselves, when in fact what we need to do is figure out our 100% internally, where we have competing needs. We have, either met needs and unmet needs, or two sets of unmet needs, or two sets of met needs that are competing inside of ourselves for attention, for scarcity of resources. So this section was designed to help address that. I do give an example that talks a little bit about it, doing that externally, but it's really about figuring out how to create a compound 100% statement that represents everything that we want. One of the big challenges people face once they learn about the cooperative contract is understanding why they have so much trouble asking for 100% of what they want 100% of the time. I often see people struggling to resolve internal competing needs as they ask for 100% of what they want. The culture encourages us to be clear in our requests, and there are plenty of crazy pig messages in the culture that make people wrong for not knowing or being able to articulate what they want. Internally, we often end up overriding or compromising one or another part of ourselves in an attempt to generate clarity for other people. This striving for clarity is in itself a rescue. In this case, one part of us is rescuing the other part, doing more than its share of the work and sacrificing its needs in the spirit of easy resolution. Consider Nora, a mother of two children, ages 6 and 9. Part of Nora wants to be a fantastic mother, soaking up all the finite, precious, good and bad parts of her children's everyday lives, knowing they will soon be teenagers and then adults and gone, moving forward in their own lives. Another part of Nora wants silence, freedom, peace and quiet, and time to stare at the wall, sleep, and recover from all the chaos. Sound familiar? Wendy Palmer, in her book The Intuitive Body, calls this type of internal competing need a split. These are irreconcilable needs, both completely valid, competing for Nora's time, energy, and attention. One part of her has probably won the battle over and over again, while another part of her has suffered. That suffering part may continue to suffer, or it may start to rebel. I suggest that clients come up with a compound 100% statement where all their needs are valid. With such a compound statement, rather than producing an internal rescue to offer external clarity to someone else, a process rife with potential resentment for that other person, they create transparency about their competing needs and include the other person in their struggle. If Nora only meets one of her needs and ignores the other, she suffers, no matter which need is getting met at the time. A compound 100% statement allows her to acknowledge and then potentially meet her unmet needs, all of them, no matter the number and how complicated, gnarly, or embarrassing they might be. Nora, in sharing her compound 100% statement with her partner, may find that her partner wants to spend more solo time with the kids. Suddenly, her need for silent, staring at the wall time and her unspoken need for her partner to get quality time with the kids may both get met in a single swoop. She'll have to sacrifice being present for the fun times her partner and kids will have together, but her quiet self-care time will likely generate greater mutual appreciation on everyone's part. Sometimes it's hard to take breaks, but they are almost always helpful and regenerative. I encourage people to stop and reflect when they are asking for their 100%. Is there an unspoken met or unmet competing need that they could include? The wonderful part of this experiment is that extraordinary results usually occur, and when new solutions do not magically appear, it's still possible to ask for empathy, understanding, and compassion from everyone involved. Sometimes irreconcilable needs are genuinely unsolvable, and if we name them as such, the energy we've been putting into solving them is released, available for alternative uses. Sometimes the skill is to recognize when change isn't possible, to accept our powerlessness, and wait for a solution that is not yet apparent, consoling ourselves with compassionate understanding along the way. Either way, we end up with vastly more cooperative, intimate, and connected relationships, not just with others, but with ourselves as well. So I really wanted to give you this reminder that in times when there's too many things, too many needs, there's scarcity of time, energy, and resources, that we need to acknowledge and address our needs with as much compassion as possible, and to acknowledge the fact that not all needs can be met right now. Sometimes we need to stretch out time or stretch out space, or work with win-loses. I talk about this a lot, that oftentimes we're going to be happier if we get a win-lose today and a lose-win tomorrow than if we get two compromises where we get 50% of what we want both days. We're better off getting most of what we want one day and not very much of what we want the next. That can be much more satisfying. So there's lots of ways we can work with a compound 100% statement. There's lots of ways we can work with internal competing needs. The most important thing for us to do first is to figure out what they are. Hope that helps. Thanks.